first off, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. We're really excited to present to you all. So again, my name is Alicia Pettis, and I am the Young Alumni Program Manager in the Office of Annual Giving, and I am a Class of 2014 graduate.
And I'm Amanda Leech, almost said my old title, Assistant Director for Career and Networking Programs in the Office of Alumni Relations, and I'm a proud 2009 grad.
So like Steve said, we were presenting today on the GOLD Network, which stands for Graduates of the Last Decade, and in particular, we're presenting on 2 initiatives that we'd like this group to work on. So Graduates of the Last Decade are, as said, they're the alumni who have graduated in the past 10 years, and they make up about 1/3 of our population. In particular, 39,384 of them, of the 120,000, are young alumni. And this is a huge percentage of our population. And when you think about the fact that JMU's been around for over 100 years, in the last 10 years we've graduated 1/3 of our alumni population, you really understand that our enrollment has increased a lot. And in particular, this becomes really important when we talk about donor participation. So while they make up 1/3 of the alumni population, they only make up about 1/5 of our donor population. So it's not proportional, and we need to work on that. And that becomes especially important when we talk about building a culture of philanthropy, because when you're building a culture, you need to include everyone. And so young alumni become even more important when we're talking about a comprehensive campaign, because we're trying to get 15,000 alumni donors by the end of 2020, and that's our annual giving goal. And we want to make sure that young alumni make up a proportional amount of this. So 5,000 of this 15,000 alumni donors will be young alumni by the year 2020. So where are they currently? Last year in fiscal year 2015, they made up only 19% of our donor population. So they're not where we want them to be. And so we did a lot of research to understand where they are, ask them questions, understand the giving trends currently with generations. And so we see them as a huge opportunity, because 32,247 of them have not ever donated. And so this is a great opportunity for us to really increase and reach out to them. And so in particular, we did an alumni survey in 2015 where we asked them questions about engagement and giving. And one of the ways that we saw that they really want to be engaged, when you look at more than half of the 7 ways that they're looking to be engaged up here, is career and networking programs. So JMU invested in them, and we gave them a bachelor's degree, or we gave them a degree, and they went out and they got a job with that. And so we built their qualification to start off in a career. But how can we continue to invest in them and then feel like we really want to be involved with their lives, especially as young professionals? The next way, they really look for information. They're our highest users of social media. So on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, any of those mediums, they're really using it, and that's where they're finding out information. And so how are we reaching out to them, and how are we leveraging their networks that they have through social media to get the message across that engaging with the university is important and giving to this university is important. And it's also important to note that the top way that they are consuming information is from their peers. So that means whether this is word of mouth, in person, or through social media posts that they're seeing with their friends, they're really listening to their friends and not to exactly the university. So how can we make sure that people are sharing what we're sharing so they're getting the message across? And even though they're not giving, they have so many reasons to give, whether they're proud of their association. Being a JMU alumni, it means a lot to them. Ensuring other opportunities for students just like themselves, or believing that JMU makes a difference in the world because they are that difference that is making the change that we're looking to see and what JMU is all about. And so all these great research statistics and points, what do they mean? And what they really mean is that we need to be engaging them with peer-to-peer solicitations and making sure that they are being their own influencers. And so when we looked at the millennial research study on giving, we saw that 86% of millennial alumni are looking to be engaged with their university through giving back time and talents. So how can we provide those opportunities? And that's through the GOLD Network that we're going to be able to do that, to really listen to them, to really engage with them in the ways that they're looking to be. And in particular, we have 2 initiatives that we're talking about today. The first is Giving Day, and Giving Day is happening on March 15th, 2016. This will be our first one. And when we look at other institutions that are doing Giving Day, it's a very effective way to increase donor participation. And basically what Giving Day is it's an online event that happens over a 24-hour period where donors are incentivized to make gifts and participate. And this is really important because we see as much as 40% of these donors on these days are new donors. So this is a great chance for us to acquire new donors. And as much as 60% of that population could be young alumni because this is online focused, because most of the word is spread through social media. So the Gold Network is particularly interested in making sure the volunteer experience is positive. So this means two different things. One, it means that the online ambassadors, who are the volunteers who are behind their computers or behind their smartphones, are posting as much as possible and really enjoying their experience, because they will not be on campus to feel the excitement that we're going to have here, but they need to feel like they're part of something larger and that what they're doing is really having a collective impact. So one of those ways that we can make them feel that way is by giving them some sort of apparel to wear, whether that's a t-shirt or that's a button or something like that, to make sure that when they're going throughout their day in their workplace, in the grocery store, that others know what's going on, and they can also use it to post pictures with selfies and all that good stuff. And then the other part is incentives. So what can we do to make sure that they feel like that they're being rewarded for what they're doing and that we're tracking what they're doing. So whether that's incentives such as tickets to a football game for the most social media posts, or the most donors, you get suite tickets, or any of those kind of incentives that we can make sure that these people are doing as much as possible to move the needle. And we think this is a great opportunity for them to be engaged and volunteer and give their time and their talents to us, and so we're really looking for this to be an effective way to acquire new donors. And now I'm going to turn it over to Amanda Leech.
Thanks, Alicia. As Alicia mentioned earlier, alumni want to be engaged in networking opportunities. We see that from our surveys. In the alumni office, we believe that the value of your degree is due in part to the alumni network that you're welcomed into when you graduate. So we are committed to hosting events that help alumni build these really powerful networks. What we'd like to do is host a series of alumni networking events in May, right after graduation, so getting a lot of new students right when they've been welcomed into the alumni world, all across different areas. So we really want to focus on areas that have high populations of young alumni. If you can't see this, it's DC, Charlottesville, New York City, and Richmond are a couple of the areas where we'd like to host these events. We'd like them to be really focused on industries and looking at demographic data. For example, in DC, we have a large population of alumni who work in the political sector, in education, in consulting, sales. So what we'll do is we'll take that information and design each networking event specifically around the area. We also recognize that we don't just need young alumni at these events to make them work. We need older alumni who are more experienced, who have that expertise, and who want to give back and help younger alumni in their careers. We also know that these need to be low cost. So we've learned this lesson in the alumni office. If you're trying to get young alumni at an event, it has to be low cost. We do think that a fee is helpful in preventing no-shows. So as low as we can keep that fee, it's going to be really beneficial to get young alumni in the door. We'd also like to involve the professors that represent different aspects of those industries represented at the events. So getting professors in the room is really going to help make those connections between alumni that don't already exist. So in our office, we believe that investing in young alumni is going to be really one great way of showing them and demonstrating to them that we believe in them and hoping that they're going to invest back in us. So what better way to show our students that we care about them, show our young alumni that we're welcoming them into their alumni experience than to provide a networking opportunity that's going to help them with their careers. I'll hand it back to Alicia.
Thank you. So this is a visual representation of where we're trying to go. So the 5,000 is the end of 2020. But we're trying to get to 2,500 this year, and currently we're on track to meet that, and would like to blow it out of the water and make sure that we are acquiring as many young alumni donors as possible. And so we think that these two initiatives are really going to move the needle because they demonstrate that we're really invested in them and that we've listened to them, that we're giving them the opportunities that they're asking for. So what would happen if we didn't receive this funding? It would mean that the Gold Network wouldn't be able to be effective and quite literally would be lackluster and not gold. So two things. For Giving Day, it would mean that we weren't able to incentivize as many people to join us, incentivize them to post as much, which could mean that we aren't able to reach our donor number goals that we have. And for Career and Networking Month, it could mean that we're not able to provide a low fee for young alumni to participate, and then we don't have as many coming out, and it could also mean that we don't have events where they need to be. And in particular, this is even more important for the future, because we see that if we are not able to get alumni who have graduated within the last 5 years to donate, it could take up to 25 years for us to acquire them. And so that is really important, because if we're trying to build a fundraising pipeline that is sustainable and moves people through annual giving into higher investments in the university, we need to start that now, and we need to be effective from here on out. So in closing, we see investing in the Gold Network as a golden opportunity for us to empower young alumni and meet them where they are. We've listened to them, we've done the research, and these two initiatives are going to be really effective. And in particular, we know that you all have made that engaged investment in this university, and we hope that you all see this as a chance to carry on your legacy and inspire young alumni to do the same.
All right, so what questions do you all have for us?
Have you, in peer institutions, let's say public universities similar size, what percentage of this population is giving, or participating in giving in the same age group? Do you have that?
At peer institutions, I think every university is having a lot of trouble with young alumni because I think the most important thing is that with other generations, they see a loyalty to the institution as very important. So you could just say JMU needs money, and they'd say, oh yeah, I need to give to JMU. But we're competing against other nonprofits who have really urgent causes and really urgent needs, and can say that your $5 is going to provide books. And we're trying to catch up to that. And so I'm not sure the exact number, but I think that everyone is really working on that. But when we look at peer institutions that are doing really well, they are doing things like Giving Day. They're really investing in career and networking services, and they're also investing in their student alumni associations, which are really introducing the idea while students are here that they should donate later on.
Thank you.
I'll go to Joe's question before. This seems like an issue, we've got a couple here on the table that more look like they are part of the university's role and the budgeting process in the university versus an innovative and creative idea that's outside of something that you're bringing to the table. I mean, great ideas, and I'll be the first to jump on the bandwagon to figure out how do we let people not walk at the door not seen for 20 years.
Yeah.
But in the process, is it because of the funding? When did this idea come up? Did it come up after budgets, or it's just not in the process that there wasn't the funds in there to deal with this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So University Advancement, we're a really lean operation, and we do a lot with the resources that we have. And because this is a new initiative which has been created over the last spring, which is, I was brought on last December, and Amanda she switched into her role in July. So we're pretty new to the roles, but this was talked about in the spring. But for new initiatives, we usually look for alternative funding to demonstrate the value of these programs, and so this is us coming to you looking for that alternative funding to demonstrate the value, to then say that we need a budget initiative, because this is pretty costly, and it would move around and shift around a lot of other budget needs that we have that we currently aren't able to move. Does that answer your question?
That was a graceful answer, and if I can give you a little bit of a macro sense of the university as well. When we were going through the recession and the disinvestment from the state funding continued, we were forced to make some cuts at the university level so that we could moderate the increases that were required of tuition. In that time, it started to be a culture of, all right, what do we have to do? And there are a lot of the things you wanted to do were sacrificed. At that time, President Rose had created an innovation pool of money across the university for new ideas that went beyond the current budget that we had. And that was awarded for 1 year, and then the cuts got even worse, and that had to be eliminated. And so for us, new monies for new innovative ideas are scarce. They're very scarce. We're right now trying to be as effective as we can to continue the endeavors we currently have for a growing population of parents and a growing population of alumni. So it's a challenge at the university level. I think one of the great parts of the Madison Trust is it combines those innovations that are research-based and could be commercialized with those innovations that are part of the university's business. And so every year, the first 2 years so far, we've seen a blend of those types of opportunities. So this is one of those unique university business innovations that you'll hear.
Thank you, Nick.
So what does success look like?
What does success look like?
Because you have the 5,000 donors, I assume that's across the university. What did, if, for the $20,000 you requested, what does success look like?
Well, it means that we're able to recruit between 300 to 500 online ambassadors for Giving Day and create an experience where they donate and they increase others to donate, and they feel like they would do it again, in particular for Giving Day.
And for networking events, success would look like hosting a couple of really successful events in areas where we have a large population of young alumni, and seeing that out of that, they've not only broadened their networks, but also have this opinion back towards the university that, hey, they've really helped me in my career search. We find from a lot of peer institutions that that's where alumni see a lot of their value with their institution, is the help that they can provide in their careers.
How do you see getting the networking, the people there? How do you get the actual people to come?
Yeah, so it's a little bit twofold, right? So we market really heavily to those young alumni who are just graduating. We can do a lot with email and a lot with marketing solicitations that way. That low cost is really going to be a benefit. And getting those older, more experienced alumni in the door, part of that would be recruiting them ahead of time and knowing who's going to be there. A lot of times we're hearing from older alumni that they want to be engaged with these kinds of opportunities. They want to give back. They want to help young alumni and mentor. And so once we get them on board, we can use that as sort of leverage to market to the young alumni as well. So if you're a young alum and you hear that Barbara Cowdell, who used to work at IBM, is coming to an event, you're going to be really excited if that's something that you're, a business you're trying to get into.
And adding on to that with the Gold Network, which is the volunteer group that is really the engaged peers who are going out and influencing other peers, they can do a lot of that marketing and be that peer-to-peer aspect that we're really looking for, that is authentic and reaching out to people we know should be there. So we also have volunteers to help us.
I'm curious, when they graduate, they walk out the door, is there any engagement, like a happy birthday email,
Yes.
congratulations on having a baby, any of those kinds of things where it's an acknowledgement that, oh, we're keeping track of what's going on with you, so when you actually send them the thing for $5 or $10 or whatever you're sending, the thing is programming people, so when it really comes to the big ask, they're ready.
Yes, some of those things. A lot of it relies heavily on alumni telling us that they've moved or that they've gotten married or that they've gotten a new job. We do have a birthday email that goes out, so that's pretty exciting. Again, a lot of it has to be self-reported. We do have other programs that are targeted at young alumni, but not many of them are focused on career-related things. My role was only created in July. So when we're talking about creating some new exciting programs for them, we really do need to think a little bit outside the box. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
So you're not thinking in terms of, this is, maybe I thought what Mr. Coors was asking, that you have a goal, a monetary goal for this group. I mean, we invest $20,000, do you hope to raise 100 or 50 or is this just a cultivation tool, which I see it as that.
Yeah.
It's part of it, but
Yeah.
what about the money that comes from it?
Yeah. So So this is a bit of a revenue is really hard to measure with young alumni. We can say that in the past, for fiscal year 2015, we saw that 1 to 5 years out, they were giving around $81, and for 6 to 10, they were giving around $95. But of course, with Giving Day and with new initiatives, we're not sure how that's going to work out because we will be acquiring more donors. And on Giving Day, more people could be giving that $5 and bringing down the average. I currently do not have a revenue goal for young alumni because we are moving and we're not really exactly sure how much they're going to bring in, but I do have participation goals. And so this group is really based on participation and bringing them in as annual givers. So we do have the goal of reaching 2,500, and currently we have 714, and that was on Monday, young alumni donors, and we have 2 more solicitations going out before the end of the calendar year. So we know that we're going to acquire more and hopefully get to that 1,250 alumni donors. So we have no revenue goals for this population, we just have participation goals.
Again,
Just out of curiosity, what was the average gift out of those that have given so far?
Oh, for so far, I'm not sure for this year. But again, with the 1 to 5, it was $81 last
Right.
year, and then 95 for 6 to 10.
So far this year.
Yeah. I imagine it's something similar, but with Giving Day, we imagine that because more people are participating and we're just acquiring new donors, that they'll give that $5 or $10. To kind of answer your question though, with revenue, for President's Council, they make up about 1/3 of that population, and President's Council for young alumni is for 1 to 5, it's $200, and then for 6 to 10, it's $500. And so we see a lot of young alumni giving that $200 or $500 gift. So we know they have that capacity. It's just moving them in there and making sure that we're demonstrating the impact and the purpose of being part of that group.
Thank you.
I want to compliment y'all on your presentation. You did a great job. I was curious though, have y'all spoken with Mary Lou or Andy that presented earlier? I just think y'all could have some synergy. They're doing or hoping to do things that seem like are going to be right in the people you're trying to reach wheelhouse.
Awesome, yeah. I think this network is really internal and external, so it's a lot of different people that are doing something similar, and we all need to come together. And so what the Gold Network is able to do is support those programs, so we'll definitely talk to Andy and Mary Lou.
I hope y'all come to the wine reception. I think you'll have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because I think there are a lot more to be asked. Thank you both
Yeah,
very
of
much.
course.
We
Thank you so
appreciate your
much.
time.